it's not communicating at the moment. So hopefully that improves. Not sure. Not sure how to. Let's bring this over here. Oh my god. Oh my god. There we go. Here we go. We got two of us now. Hello. Hello. Oh, here. Where do I consent at? Also, do you want to post about this in the group chat? This is my first time joining one of these. Yeah, it has been a long time. You can post anywhere. This is, public. Yeah, we'll see if we can get anyone on audio too, which is nice to have audio. And we'll see where it goes. Okay. Also, it's good to note that in Discord we use this particular chat room to kind of connect between meetings. This is the Discord project within GSUS. I had no need to chat. I hear just fine. Okay, cool. Awesome. So, anyways, hopefully by the dystopia will come, or some other folks will come, or to see what happens. Generally speaking, my whole thing is like Coalition for Decentralized Movement Organizing. Basically, I'm all about connecting, striking, and protesting, and boycotting, and co-ops, and mutual support, and anything and everything, action, and just trying to connect people together, empowerment, all that kind of wonderful stuff. But anyways, right now we're really focusing on general strike. So I don't know if anyone. Oh, Jeff's trying to get on here. So there's the three of us. Let's. Oh, and also it's helpful to have Discord at handles so that we can connect in the group.
Hey, Jay, can you hear me?
Yay, I can hear you. Sweet.
Oh, excellent. I'm Jeff. I just have probably a strange question. I saw elsewhere about this meeting that you were about to host that this was an emergency meeting about what happened yesterday.
No, I mean my understanding. I mean, this meeting is a regularly scheduled meeting that happens once a week, and was scheduled a long time ago. It's the first time I've had it for a couple months because I've been in Europe. So, as far as like this meeting continuing, if people are interested in publicly recorded, documented sessions,
Um,
that's one thing. But
wait,
basically, my understanding is all of the meetings that have happened in emergency have been secret and known. I don't know anything about them, right? So I don't know what's going on
okay,
with that, but the official public, well, there's two meetings. One, there's an emergency meeting in two states. One is Massachusetts, and then there's another state I
okay.
can't remember. And then there's the outreach meeting and the strategy team meeting that is going to be either on Tuesday or Monday or like on September 2nd. So that's what I have been able to gather from everything.
And the time to start. Please get
Okay.
focused on the session.
So overall, it's like, I'm just frustrated that so much happens in the background in the dark. And for me, it's like there's this whole class system
Yeah.
and it's just all weird the way it all works out. So I'm just like, let's bring things to the light. Let's have
Right.
accountability. Let's have communications.
Okay. Okay,
And just,
I
yeah.
think what happened is people thought that you meant we were going to do that today, right now, at this meeting. So
Well, we can talk about
I
whatever we
think
want to at this
yeah.
meeting. This is just an open
Okay.
discussion,
Okay.
open meeting for anyone to talk
Totally.
anything they want to
Okay.
regarding the
Okay.
general strike. Yeah. So if we want to talk
Gotcha.
and
Okay. Well,
discuss
I just
that, we can. Certainly,
I just want you to know that people are probably going to show up wanting to discuss that. So that's
that
probably
would be great. Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
But I wouldn't call
cool.
this
Yeah,
an
we do need
emergency.
to.
For me, an emergency meeting would
Okay.
be like an officially, sanctioned emergency meeting that
I
basically
mean, there
would be
is no
called.
official.
Yeah, exactly.
You
Nothing's
know,
official.
any of us can say we need an emergency meeting. Whoever shows up, that's who's there. There is no. I think the idea that we're waiting for somebody to say let's have an emergency meeting is a problem. So whether you like it or not, you've kind of called an emergency meeting at this point.
Well, that's great.
So you've got that on your hands.
I mean,
yeah,
for me,
I think that's wonderful.
For me, I'd be all about just like finding one person to schedule with, and then but it's very difficult for people to even take that step to schedule something like that. You know what I mean? So for the fact that this kind of happens to be when it is, and takes on that effect, that's great. So usually what we do at these sessions is we do a little round of check-ins. So let's make sure each person gets a chance to check in, and then usually we are not able to get topics because it takes effort to get agreement on a topic. And so we just do open discussion and kind of just do a round. So we'll just do a round. Everyone can say what they want to say. Also, let's read what Silver7 says. So really been announced before we got in. I'm thinking technology group is meeting tomorrow. So tomorrow might be another good meeting. I really like it's due to the way Discord is in general. I really feel like it's due to the way Discord is in general. So many topics get buried and lost and newbies can't catch what's been being said over a week ago. Cool.
Yeah, actually, can I respond to those? Because we are in fact having a tech team. I'm running the tech team meeting tomorrow, so we are doing that. It's at noon PST, so anybody's welcome to show up to that. And one thing we're definitely going to be talking about is Discord and how problematic it is and what we can switch to, because it's not working for us for a variety of reasons. So anybody that wants to give some input, please come to that meeting. It's going to be pretty technical, probably. So thanks for bringing that up, Sever7. So I just want to say hi to Nick that showed up, because we were just talking a little while ago, and I just want to explain that I've just basically informed Jay that we're kind of hijacking this meeting. It's going to be about the emergency, the stuff that happened yesterday, even though he was saying that this is just a normally scheduled meeting. Since people think it's going to be an emergency meeting, we're showing up to it. It's kind of just going to be that way anyway. So, yeah. So sorry, Jay, and thank you for doing this.
No problem. Like let's say, like for example, I would say what I would love to see is a national emergency meeting that everybody's invited to, and if we got agreement to do that, I would say, okay, here's the time of that meeting, and I would go to every single channel, and I invite everyone across everything, right? This particular meeting was only just, it wasn't, no one knows about it, right? Except maybe a couple people in outreach, and maybe the people who looked at the schedule or whatever. So it hasn't been outreach. It's not, I wouldn't call it an emergency meeting because it doesn't meet my criteria for an open invitation. But that's just me personally. But the people who are here can consider it emergency.
But if I may, that speaks to one of the key issues, is that we have some individuals in the organization who are not seeking to ensure open conversation, collaboration, and who are moving quickly and without process, whereas there are others, like you just mentioned, Jay, going to the different channels, making sure everyone's aware and know. And those of us who are doing that, such as myself, our work gets buried, and it's incredibly frustrating to see other people's be able to derail the entire organization as a singular person, while others are trying to do collaborative working together, and our work is consistently not followed because it gets lost in a thread somewhere. So that, I think, speaks to one of the core problems that we have going on right now.
Great. Thank you, Nick. As kind of facilitator here, if anyone wants to speak and respond to Nick or just add anything immediately, now's the time. Go for it. Otherwise, I would bring us back to the check-ins, just for process, because you just mentioned process, right? Process is good. So check-ins is really simple. I'll do an example. Say your name, kind of where you're from, maybe what you work on in GSUS, and that you consent to being recorded. and how you're doing. Anything else you want to add? So my name's Jay. I'm in California, Northern Cal, and I am working on specifically like global general strike. I'm also into coalition building and specifically cooperative organizing models. And I am consent to being recorded, and I'm doing okay. I'm having a interesting day and week, but I'm glad a few people showed up, and we'll see how it goes from here. So who would like to go next?
I guess I'll go since I interrupted before. Interrupted the process. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. That's perfect.
I'm Nick. I organize out of Oregon, and I am involved in a number of the teams, but I'm primarily focused on accessibility. Not doing very well, but and I consent to being recorded.
I'll go next. Thanks, Nick. You beat me to it. You beat me to apologizing for interrupting the process. I'm Jeff. They them pronouns. I'm also in Oregon, in Portland. I'm mostly active on the tech team. I'm working on the new strike card project. I'm leading that and running the next tech team tomorrow. And I was involved yesterday in the in writing an open letter to resolve the issues that came up yesterday about us accidentally endorsing an organization. That's enough. Thank you. Thanks for. Oh, and I consent to being recorded. And how I'm doing today is not quite how I was hoping to be doing today. Today is my birthday, and I thought I would be doing fun things, but there was a lot of chaos, so I'm doing this.
Happy birthday! That's exciting.
Yeah.
Well,
thanks for hosting, Jay. Sorry to hijack things.
Hopefully this will be a highlight. Let's let Bubbles check in, and then I have like the quote of the week. It's so good. Bubbles, do you want to check in?
Yeah. Hi, Bubbles. I'm in Northern California. Happy birthday, Jeff. And yeah, this last 2 days has been kind of crazy with all the drama here. But it's good because people are interested in showing up and wanting to make the process better. And pronouns are she, her, and I'm doing okay. Glad to be here.
Awesome. So, Silverstein, I don't know if you want to do a specific check-in, but I copied some of your check-ins here that you were mentioned. I'm here because I'm pretty enough to see CEOs lose their shit. I consent to be recorded. The only other thing that I was told about Signal Chat, but I don't know about Signal Chat, so I have some questions about Signal Chat, so we can add that as a potential other topic. So obviously the main topic is just like the chaos from, outreach and problems. I mean, there's so many things connected to that. Chat questions. So those are the two things. But let's just keep the order. We'll go around in the open discussion. So the order would be myself, and then we had Nick, Jeff, Bubbles, and then we can see any typing from Silverstein. Okay, and as far as what I wanted to add in my first round was just my quote of the week, which, because we're all kind of down, I thought it was hilarious and also very, connecting because we're also down. It was in the Operation Globalize. Sorry about my tone. I'm exhausted and done with people for today. Oh, I just love that. I don't know why I love that so much, but it's just like kind of captures the feeling of the situation, So anyways, I will just say in terms of the whole situation, for me, I've been involved about a year, and there's just the same issues over and over and over again in different lights and contexts, and it all comes down to just the not having clarity on what's going on and seeing so much turnover and so many people leaving, and it's just very frustrating. And what I'd love to see is just empowerment, collaboration, voting, accountability, and just a structure that people can jump into and feeling like we're all following the rules and we're all treated equally, right? Instead, I don't see that, and I can go on and on about what I see, because I don't feel equal. I feel like a third or fourth class citizen in this organization. And when you're not in the upper levels, it's like you can do however much you want, work on any project to make it so amazing, and it just gets ignored. It just doesn't go anywhere. So that's sort of the frustration. Anyways, next. Who would like to go next? Oh, we have an order. Nick, did we get any new people? Censored secret. We have one new person. If you want to check in. Or if you can only type, you can type. But it's Nick's turn.
Censored says they're lurking. Yeah, I guess I'm not really sure how to respond. I've only been here for 4 months, and for 5 months in that time have tried to assist with systems and processes and documents and stuff, but I don't know that maybe I'm not doing it correctly, or I don't know. There's often been thwarted by ableism in the Discord. The Discord is a huge problem. So I'm feeling pretty disheartened and really not really sure where to go next.
So that brings us to Jeff.
Yeah, and so Nick and I have talked a lot about this feeling of like we're trying to do good work, we're spinning our wheels at times, not being heard. A lot of things get lost, a lot of things get buried. There's a lot of chatter that distracts, and it's so easy for there to be trolls or demotivators to come into the space or into our meetings and just disrupt them. That it feels like it's getting increasingly difficult to get real work done. And it feels like a technological problem, but also a sociological problem in that I feel like we could have a lot more systems in place, like the things that Nick is working on, that exactly like what you're talking about, Jay, those things aren't getting taken seriously. Like Nick is doing the stuff that you're talking about that we need, and it's not really getting taken seriously enough. So it sounds like we're all on pretty similar pages there. I have had some success with the tech team, but that's only because I've got a really good bunch of nerds that really, really want to get some stuff done. And whether or not the work that we do will actually get used is a question. We have to wait and see. I think that is enough out of me. Thank you.
So that brings us to Bubbles, but before Bubbles, just Censored Secret checked in a little bit. It says, yes, Jeff, that is what is draining me, and the most likely the distractions and confusion are taking over each other as well. So he was saying hi and stuff. And the ableism we've experienced leaves us more hurt than helped. All right. So next is MS is here. Okay, MS, you get a check in. And are you? Can you talk?
Yeah.
Yay. Okay, so the check-in is your name, kind of where you're from, and again, everything's being recorded. So you want to consent to recording. Don't say anything that's private. Don't say anything personal. Use aliases. Whatever you need to do. You can even change your voice. I can help you with that. And how you're doing? Yeah, MS, go for it.
That's fine. I mean, I'm fine. I'm Magnus, and I'm from Massachusetts, and I think a lot of people here know me. So.
Are you okay being recorded?
Yeah, I mean, the thing says consent to be recorded, so.
Yes, exactly. All right, so
I just want to say I saw someone in the chat saying Discord is a great tool for meetings. It really is not, because I've been harassed at meetings on the Discord now, and that's why I'm not doing them anymore. So it is not a good tool for meetings. I wouldn't say that at all.
Cool. So next is Bubbles.
Okay. I actually I don't know where we're going. I agree with Nick, and there's so much work that has been done, and I guess I've been feeling a little overwhelmed with just the amount of documentation that's there to try to work with, and I guess I've not been doing very good at getting all those docs like in my local chapter. So it's just overwhelmed. And oh, I was gonna ask, I was part of the tech team doing stuff with Discord onboarding, or is it different stuff than that? I guess that would be a question for Jeff.
Sorry, it took me a second to get back to my mute button. We're not really doing that. I think there is an onboarding team. Maybe someone else knows that, because we have. I mean, it's possible that Aradia, who does a lot of the Discord moderation, it's possible that she would know who might be doing that. But the tech team, we haven't talked about that.
Okay, all right, yeah. It's I guess we're not really doing that. So, and I know about the onboarding stuff. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, yeah.
Great. So that brings us to Stevenson and Censored, but you guys are text only, so if you write some text, we'll read it. And then Nora, you can check in. And the check-in's like where you're from, your name, you consent to being recorded, and anything else you want to add, how you're doing, etc. If you're here. Oh, and then we have Alice too. Nora, can you unmute? Alice, do you want to check in? Okay, no Alice, no Nora, we'll come back. Let's see if there's any writing here from Stevenson. I just meant that as the technicians can't do a video meeting or something, aforementioned, yes, there are far too many docs. Okay, so currently we have Nora, Alice, who can check in whenever they want, or you can do text only, and then we're going to go back to me at the top of the stack. We're just going to keep going around. If we want to change topics or get focused, we can. But I think overall, just open discussion and rounds like this is probably the best place we're at. So my turn. For me, the number one thing I think everything comes down to is accessibility. So I really feel what Nick is saying about accessibility and how important it is to have accessible ways of communicating and collaborating and working together. I myself am neurodiverse. I, like having recordings, having transcriptions, having documents. I do a lot of the notes, and it's like no one ever takes notes for me. So it's like having the ability to document, record, and share really helps me as a neurodiverse person. In terms of just like all of the, private meeting stuff, I have no problem with private meetings. Anyone could do private meetings, but the foundation of a national movement for striking with 11 million people and that affects 300 million people or more, there has to be a public component to that is verifiable, communicable, linkable, understandable, and just accountable to the organization. So we can talk about all the 50-51 stuff. I mean, for me, that's what I'm talking about right now. For me, the 50-50 issue, 50-51 issue is not about outreach. It's about this weird decision-making system. In fact, the fact that Day's coming back makes it even worse, right? Like, it makes it feel like all the little people who are like third class and fourth class, they have issues and they have wants and they have problems and they're just ignored. But if you're on the top, you're one of the super important people, and your issue gets addressed immediately. So for me, it actually in some ways makes it worse. But either way, there's a huge problem in the whole structure of how things are addressed in the organization. And my proposal is that every state sends a representative. You have a National Assembly, and the National Assembly oversees the appointment of like an executive committee or whatever to make sure we have a webmaster, and that webmaster is accountable to the states and all the people. So that's sort of kind of one option. How the details, haven't worked out, but I'd love to see something. Check. Next is either Nora, Alice, or Nick. So if Nora, Alice want to check in, you can, and then
sure.
Oh yeah, Nora, go for it. Check in. Yeah.
Hey. Yeah, I've only been a chapter facilitator about a month, so I've been trying to onboard myself and get things set up for my chapter, and I agree that I think they're everything is so scattered because we we have the autonomy to do individual projects, but then they kind of get lost, and people have a hard time finding things and where to plug in. And then it's like one team doesn't know what another's doing, and it's like there's lost opportunity for collaboration. And I agree that there should be like some processes in place so that it fosters transparency and organization. Um, and like we can have like a national model, and then like obviously like smaller chapters can do what they want to, but maybe like a suggested template for this is how we nationally make decisions, and just like something that's somewhat easily replicatable down the line, so that way there's more um, maybe continuity.
Awesome. Thanks, Alice. Oh no, that was Nora. Alice, did you want to check in? Oh, and you agree to being recorded, right, Nora?
Yeah, no problem.
Perfect. Okay. Alice, did you want to check in?
Can y'all hear me?
Perfect.
Yes.
Yeah. Hi. I guess. Sorry, I was jumping on this. I thought this was going to be like a external comms type of meeting. Accessibility wise, I guess I didn't know there were so many issues. Like you said, smaller players are having. My chapter is not very active, and pretty much all that happens in my chapter is people will post protest days, and every once in a while someone will suggest getting together, and then no one else will respond. So, yeah, I'm here to learn and happy to be here. Thanks.
Great. So that brings us to Nick, who's next.
Nick, oh, thank you. I appreciate that there is a format here. Where to start? Okay, I wonder if it'd be helpful for me to outline for everybody a bunch of the projects that I know of are ongoing, because I've been attending a meeting for the last 4 months. So I can tell you that in the strategy team has been working on quietly a couple things, like quietly as in threads, so it's not like on the front of the Discord. There's been work on an onboarding project through Notion, and part of that project was planned to involve taking up all of our massive library of documents and create readable versions of those. Readable meaning they're on a language level that is accessible to a majority of people, not just those who are at like a collegiate reading level. And the issue that was run into is that there are too many of these. They don't have the same information. We don't even have a mission statement that's consistent on the website. So there's one project that is going on that anybody can be involved with. It was intended to be sent out this weekend, but we got derailed of a core messaging, and that will ultimately become a chapter facilitator handbook that will include worksheets and suggestions and stuff. And just for some background, I used to be on the board of directors of a national scouting group that was like a kind of like a decentralized version, like all genders, everyone welcome. And part of what I did was to take the scattered documents from all the different chapters nationally and to put them into one chapter facilitator handbook, and that enabled them to be able to build chapters nationally much faster. So that's kind of the basis I'm using. Another project, Jeff mentioned the tech stuff that's going on. That's being done in coordination with the Accessibility Committee, because the Accessibility Committee includes people such as myself, people who do the content creation, strategy team, lead a bunch of projects, and we have repeatedly faced ableism and some outright nasty things said in the Discord, so we've kind of gone away from the Discord and So that's where that tech team project has come from. There's also the accessibility team has been working on numerous workshops. One was supposed to be presented today. Again, derailed. It'll be coming next Saturday. What else? The outreach team is talking about putting together a more clear, comprehensive partner packet, because frankly, a lot of us don't understand what it means to partner, and it needs to be more clear what is a state partnership versus, or like a state chapter versus like a national, we've all consented to this type of partnership. There are others, but I've been talking for a while, so I'll go on.
I know so much. So we have a couple things in writing here. This is Stevenson says, my problem is that even this is new to me. Didn't know that there was this problematic structures, and the Discord platform for this is so visually busy that I didn't even know that what was happening. It also gets busy and overwhelming. You mentally get bored and check out 3 minutes and then go somewhere else. And then we have from consent or secret. I'd also consent to be recorded. This is North Carolina, South Carolina chapter mod. We need to improve the movement's practices and accessibility, including structure, transparency, communications. All right, so that brings us, after Nick, we have Jeff. And we're just doing rounds here. Any new people? I don't see anyone new. Also, yeah. So Jeff is next.
Thanks, Jay. Of course, I had a mouthful of food as you said that, obviously. So I loved what you were saying, Jay, a few minutes ago about the accessibility issues. Unfortunately, I dropped off the call for a minute, so I missed probably about half of what you said, but I really liked where it was going, because I've had a lot of I have chronic illness and disability, so it's hard for me to follow a lot of the conversations that we need to be able to follow. I run into issues trying to keep track of who's working on what, and there really doesn't seem to be any kind of cohesion as to like keeping track of those things. So part of what the tech team is doing, hopefully tomorrow, is we'll be making a list of all of the tech projects that we even have, because we don't even really have a central list anywhere of just here's what we've got or here's what needs work. So starting that and see what people are working on in private, because a lot of the people on the tech team work on small projects on their own and don't necessarily know that each other are working on similar things. Like, they're not being connected. So that's part of what we're doing in the tech team. And I feel like we kind of need some of that in a lot of the teams. I'm not really in any other teams. I'd like to be part of the accessibility team, but I really don't have the bandwidth to do that. So just echoing what Nick is saying and what others are saying, is just we have such an overwhelming amount of information, and it's easy for things that actually turned out to be really important to slip through the cracks. A lot of us found out about the accidental 5051 endorsement yesterday only because people said that they were leaving the organization, and that's not a great way for that kind of thing to be communicated, or for us to find that out. And so we need a way for people within the organization to be communicating that there are these issues going on before it gets to that point. So, all right, that's enough talking out of me. Thanks again, everyone.
Beautiful. That brings us to MS, and then we have Bubbles.
I want to kind of try to do a little bit differently. Instead of just saying what I think we need or what we don't have, I'm just going to tell a little bit of a story of how I got to this point, and try to be a little bit slower, because I can see you taking notes furiously. Which is really appreciated as someone from the accessibility team. So when I first got wind of GSUS, I went to the strike card page and the website and everything, and it directed me to the link tree, which directed me to my state server, Discord server. and it was pretty much dead, as someone else said. There wasn't really much going on, and I kept asking, hey, what's going on, or any meetings or anything, and no one really responded to me much. I found out there was a national server. I joined, and from there I just kind of tried to listen in on a meeting or two, or try to just figure out what was going on, because I dropped out of high school and I can't really read most of the materials that were available. So I just wanted to get a feel for what was going on. And I heard someone over a social media team meeting say, we need someone to kind of round up and run meetings for content creation, for content we want to put out on our social media pages. And I was like, well, I can do that. I'm not doing anything else. I can do that. So I started running the content creation team meetings, and I was running them on a weekly basis on the Discord server. And it started off really small, but as I was having really consistent meetings and I was keeping really consistent agendas and consistently posting the notes, I think it started attracting more and more people. And also, since I was doing all of that myself, which was a lot of work, but I don't mind, I think other people took notice and started directing others my way and saying, hey, go to this if you want to help out with that. And it was great, but it got really huge. And the problem was, when I was first asked to run these meetings, I was given a single thread on the social media team channel on the Discord. So I had one thread. There was no way to keep track of projects except for just me taking the notes. There was need to very quickly or effectively ask people questions about the projects they wanted to do, because people would just come into the channel and start, or to the thread and start just post their blog posts that they wrote that has nothing to do with this or anything. I don't think people were aware that it was for projects we were doing, which is still a consistent thing that happens there to this day. And then the meetings got so big that I think that they started attracting trolls, because the last meeting that I tried to have, I got harassed twice on the voice call. And I'm not really going to get into the details of it, but one of them was very definitely a really nasty Discord, internet troll type. The other one, I'm not sure if it was just someone who had a misunderstanding, so I'm not going to say that they were both trolls, but one of them definitely was. And got banned, I think, from the server later on. And so Discord isn't really the best way to do any of this. And when I first joined, I thought the Discord was a little hub that people would get directed to where all these projects were going on. Once I really started to sink in that people were really trying to do work over Discord, which is a social platform, I was like, we need to do something else here. And that's why I went to the tech team meeting, and also why I joined the accessibility committee, because they were the only people who were talking about figuring out a different solution for workflow. So that's my story. I just wanted to make more people aware of what had happened, because I think a lot of people got bits and pieces but don't really understand. But that's really what happened. I just jumped into this and was doing pretty well, and was very consistently bringing groups of people together to do projects, and we did get several projects under our belt, but at this point I just can't move on. I can't continue it, because it's pretty much stuck where it is with the Discord, and I don't want to really do it anymore. Which sucks, because I would like to keep leading that team, because I think I was doing a pretty good job. Oh, thank you, Jeff.
Cool.
Sorry, I didn't know it would make a sound effect. Sorry.
Yeah, I've never done anything like this before, so it was really encouraging to have people be coming to these meetings and actually participating. But yeah, now it's done. I feel pretty bad about it, actually.
I think we could turn off the sounds. I don't know if you care, but I don't really care. So the next is, thank you, MS, amazing, Bubbles. Oh, I love the storytelling. Bubbles, you're next.
I guess I'll do some bit of background. I'm also disabled, and so a lot of my time is spent resting, which allows me to do a lot on the computer. And I've joined GSUS. Also, go to your local chapter, and there wasn't one. So that's, I guess, about the same time I met Jay and was started doing the NorCal server and the California in general. We were getting it organized, and most of the stuff that I've been doing is trying to get in-person meetings because we have like 1,000 or 1,900 people on NorCal, and maybe 4 or 5, maybe 10 show up and talk and do anything. So I've wanted to do outreach to the people that we've actually, our members. And so I've joined a lot of the different teams trying to figure out, well, how do I do this? How do we get people involved? But then I also run into, like, I was out for a week and a half, not being able to do anything. So I couldn't talk or, be online doing stuff. And so it's easy to get overdone, I guess. And that's it.
Thank you, Bubbles. So my turn next. I don't think we have any new people. All right. So much to unpack here. I love the storytelling. Before I go into storytelling mode, I certainly can't tell my whole story because it would just go on forever. I feel like Discord is a great tool. I love Discord, or I want something similar to Discord, like Matrix, right? So Matrix is a little more open source, a little more collaborative, like, so Matrix good, Discord good. So I'm sort of on the other side of the coin where I like Discord more than like Signal, because Signal is too private and too secretive, and I just like things to be open and transparent and collaborative. But there's obviously a core problem with our Discord. I have the same issue with the I don't know, whatever team that you got that oh my goodness, Nick got, I think it was Nick, MS, where you had like a single thread to organize an entire team. It's insane, right?
Yes.
So I was doing the strategy team, and so I proposed many times to just create a whole separate Discord with strategy team. So I would have done it, but no one supported, no one wanted to do it, and no one agreed to do it. So there's like 100 separate threads under the strategy team, primarily because I made a thread for everything, right? So it's just so key to keep things organized and having a single thread that you need to put a bunch of other threads on. So projects help with that. So you can create a project. I probably have created like 10 projects, and then within each project you can have many threads, so that helps organize a project. But when something is under a team, it doesn't quite make sense to make it a project now. So it's like the easiest answer for me with Discord or Matrix or whatever is that we should just be able to create more Discord servers at the national level. There should be many Discord servers. There should be a Discord server for each team, the outreach team, the strategy team, the onboarding team, like all of these teams. The National Assembly should have its own Discord server to coordinate every single topic. I mean, for me, every single topic of discussion should be tracked and have its own place to discuss. Because when everything is mixed into all the same channels, it's just a nightmare. And that's one of the things I like about Discord, is you have the ability to create all these different channels and threads to organize all the communications. The other way to organize information in an organization is through power and decision making. And this is what I think is missing more than just the technology, is that when there is a funnel, oh, here's a brand new idea. Oh, this idea has documents. Oh, this idea has been worked on for 3 months. Oh, this idea has been voted on 3 times and has now gone to the level for, potential final vote. You can organize all this information in relationship to its level of support and its level of actual, is it official? Is it just a brand new idea? Do a few people think about it, or has it been approved by the National Assembly? Like, for me, when you have the ability to organize information based on actual power and decision making and approvals and how many states support something, you are now able to really, put it in an order that is more manageable and understanding, and it just immediately gets to a smaller amount of information, because it's only information that's actually approved. So, anyways, I could go on and on and on about my story and all the things, but maybe I'll save that for the next round. But I got a hand from MS.
Oh yeah, I think that you'll find that Jeff and I have also had extremely similar experiences with the Discord not being available to like create a workflow for our projects that we need to do. I also want to say I don't think that more Discords are the solution. I really don't think that we should be using Discord for this because it's well, I know that this is not a problem for you personally, Jay, but Discord does like agree to turn over information to the police and all kinds of things like that. So I don't think that like real like actually important work should be done over it at all. It needs to be private. Like in not saying that it needs to be secret. I'm saying that it needs to be like, there needs to be a little bit more security to it, which I think that the technology team is working on, like different solutions that are not on Discord. But I agree that there should be more, we should be able to create more spaces. I actually considered making a content creation Discord myself, like several times, but I just decided it wasn't worth it because of Discord itself. That's all I have to say.
Cool. So we're getting into a stack here. Jeff is next on a stack. I want to put myself on stack to respond, and then we'll get back to the round when we need to. So Jeff, you are next on stack. If you want to get on stack, just raise your hand or write in the chat. Jeff, your turn.
Thanks, Jay. Appreciate it. I want to respond to what both of you said there. So it's easy for us to make as many Discord servers as we possibly could ever want. So we could do what you're saying, Jay, but there's still some big problems with Discord that we can't solve. And one of those, aside from the fact of turning over information, like I agree with Mags that that's a problem, but we're doing most of this publicly, so a lot of it is already accessible to the police. But aside from that, because it's owned by a corporation, it can be shut down at any time. And I don't just mean like individual servers, but they could say our entire network. Say they could brand us as terrorists or working with drug cartels, whatever they feel like doing, and could just delete every single one of our servers at the tap of a keyboard. And that scares me because that's all of our infrastructure, all of our connection to each other could just be gone in an instant, and we have no recourse and no way to get back all of those people that might only be connected in that way. So as far as I can see, like, the accessibility issues are a real problem. The trolls are a problem. The organization is a problem. Those are all kind of fixable to a degree, but this issue is not, unless we run something ourselves. And Jay mentioned Matrix, which is what the tech team is considering at the moment. We're considering a couple options, and it might be that we go with it. We actually use a few different communication tools because real-time communication like Discord is not suited for every kind of project management. But I could talk for a while about my struggles in trying to get my own project a Discord channel. It took me literally 2 weeks of going back and forth and getting Eliza to get on someone's case to get that the channel created, because I was told that I could just use one single thread in the tech team channel to run my whole strike card project, which is just completely insane. And so it took a lot of work to get that channel. And I'm using Discord because it's what we've got, it's what we have, but I think there are better options out there, and I think it's really important that we try to put work into those. I think that's enough on that. I'll stop.
Cool. So it's my turn on stack, then we have Nora on stack, and then we go back to, well, actually, you would be next on round as well, Nora, so then we'd go to Alice, who's on round. All right, so as far as Discord goes, I mean, obviously I can't disagree with the security issues related to corporations. Like, it's a disaster. And for me, there's only one solution, and well, one solution meaning a type of solution, which is decentralized communication systems, right? So I put in, I don't know, hundreds of hours on, playing with Blue Sky, not just Blue Sky, but specifically, what's it called? something, I don't know, whatever it's behind Blue Sky. It was a while ago, and I created my own servers and created all these different things and played with like the back end that supports Blue Sky. And then there's also a couple other ones that example like with Mastodon as well as Matrix and everything. So Matrix is the one that's most like Discord, so I think Matrix is probably the way to go with that. But anytime you have a Matrix, you can also have a Discord and you can go back and forth. But for me, it's not really about the technology. Like anyone should be able to create a Matrix, anyone should be able to create a Discord, anyone should be able to just set up the infrastructure they need to communicate. And then from there, it should be sort of what is accessible publicly. And for me, it all comes down to the public accessibility. So if you create a Signal chat, you can create it publicly accessible with a link. Is it publicly accessible or not? If it is publicly accessible, you can link it to the Discord, and then you can find it, and then you can go there, or you can put it on the website, etc., etc. So, I have no problem with endless private and secret communication models on Signal or wherever people want to do that. But at some point, when you're dealing with 11 million people or more, there needs to be a repository for public information, whether that's the website or maybe different teams should have their own websites to be publishing the data and information that should be accessible to the public, because right now the website never gets updated. It's just a static page. So where is the depository for verifying public decisions publicly, projects publicly, information to report back to everything going on? For me, that's the foundation, and then everything can be built from there into all of the other places and groups, but it should be very accessible and easy to make new links and make new connections, and then from there can be private connections that go from the public spaces. Check. Nora, your turn.
Thanks. I was gonna say, like, I've done editing in the past, like blog editing and things, and like I just wanted to bring up an example. I think using Discord for everything is not the right answer, or breaking it down into multiple Discords is not the right answer. But like when I was editing, it was like a team that was spread out across different time zones around the world. And so we had a Slack channel for communications, which is kind of like Discord. And then if you're on the editing team, we had a Trello for all the project management. So like the writers would go in there, the editors would go in there. Everybody could see what article was in what stage of development. And then from there, it's like we would work on the articles in Google Docs. So like that was all, there was like, different folders we could go to see what project was where, and that would be where we physically go work on it. So I'm not advocating for any of those platforms, but I'm just using them as an example. And like, we have our Discord or Matrix or whatever we're using for those communication channels. And then say someone wants to join the strategy team. Okay, well, we have this project management software where we can refer you, and everybody can go in there and see what's going on, where it's at in the stage of production, and it's easier for them to hop in and get started. And then, we have something like the Proton drives where they're actually physically working on the documents. So like, I think that route may be good. It would just be a matter of, seeing, like, identifying which platforms would be good to use. And so that way it's like there's a little, not vetting, but like we've had contact with these people and we can kind of move them down where they fit in.
Alice. Thank you, Nora. Alice, so you're on mute. And then we have
Nick. Sorry, just listening, learning. I'll pass to the next.
Pass, check, great. So that brings us, Nick. Yes, Nick. Mm-hmm. And there's no one on stack, so yeah. Nick, you're next.
Okay. I wonder if it makes sense to speak to. I kind of feel like there's an elephant in the room. So there is one person who has significant control of the Discord in general. And that has there are many teams who have tried to have ask for channels and things like that and have been told that they cannot have them. There's a de facto leadership in this organization that is very uncomfortable to me, and I don't know how to speak to it without feeling like I'm calling people out. But the accessibility team, for example, we had a major event where someone was incredibly, like, posted continuously for 13 hours in the strategy channel, where we actually at that moment had a really good flow. All the projects that are going on right now, this was about a month ago, were at the same point they're out right now. We could have been much more ahead if this hadn't happened. That person ended up, when I asked for some organization and for them to go to a thread, accused me of weaponizing neurodivergence and a bunch of other things about my chronic illness. And yeah, there was no moderator support. Mods were called in and just talked to the person. There's a lot of tolerance for intolerance in the Discord, and this resulted in a core of us from the accessibility team in a private chat with a core from the moderators team. And this has been a month. There's really not been any resolution. They're waiting on us, the disabled people, to put together our proposal for what we'd like to do, to put together our presentations for teaching them about accessibility. And meanwhile, when we were in that conversation, trying to make suggestions for how to better structure our Discord or move to Matrix, or even suggested making multiple Discords, we're told no, explicitly no, and that those were gatekeeping. So I don't know how to deal with these issues of that there is one person who has this control and does not feel that they do, but they do. There's also the issue of, like, I'll straight up say it, I'm pissed at what Day and Jaden did. Who among us has not considered quitting because of something? And I'm not, like, this did not need to consume the amount of energy from our organizers that it has. It is a core organizational issue that needs to be dealt with. The fact that 1 to 3 people have control of a website that represents all of us is an issue. That could have been dealt with internally. Posting something on the Discord publicly is not dealing with it internally. And it's just not an appropriate way to go about things. But we don't have any sort of accountability processes that I'm aware of to be able to bring these things up to these folks. So I'm open to hearing everybody's feedback on that. Check.
Great. That brings us to written. So we have Stevenson. A couple things from Stevenson. I found an example of a forum. This is a free host forum, MuOcean. What if we need something like this, right? And let's see, anything else? Stevenson, I adminned a forum SH site for some time and I'm familiar with the capabilities. Sounds like this was trolls. Cool. So I don't know if Censored Secret wants to add anything, but if you want to add anything else, Stevenson, let us know. If we missed anything, let us know. It is now Bubbles' turn, I believe. Bubbles still here.
You wrote Jeff twice. You replaced Bubbles with Jeff at some point, but I was going to tell you when I got the chance.
Yeah, so Jeff got moved because he put stacks. You go on stack and boom, you get moved in the round. So Bubbles is next, then it goes back to MS, then Jeff, and me again. And we did, this was a pass from Censored Secret. Bubbles.
Yeah, I guess I'll pass too. I don't know what's going on. So it was very disruptive to have Day and Jaden quit. It was scary, honestly, because it's like they do so much, and it was for something that was really trivial, it seemed like. And it shouldn't blow up the entire organization. So
Okay, Bubbles, I think you muted yourself, so now we go on to MS. And if anyone needs to get unstacked, please do.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling a similar way right now because I think you said it, Jay. I'm pretty sure you said it, but like, it's one thing to quit very publicly, but it's another thing to come back a few hours later after everyone scrambles to try to appease you. That doesn't sit right with me. I think that Day puts a lot of work and time, like a ridiculous amount of work and time into this, but that doesn't make it Day's. You know, everyone else is putting in the amount of time that they can, and just because someone like is able to put in that much time and work and can really do it and knows a lot doesn't mean that they should have that much control over the whole situation. And I also think on the flip side, the lead mod, who also has control over like several discords, and I found out that the lead mod of the Discord has control over partially the website and some other things like a GitHub and some other stuff. That's a lot of stuff to be in a lot of keys to be in one person's hands. And they also mostly just do moderation. So that person has a lot of power, hard power. Day has a lot of soft power. And we're kind of at the whims of a couple of people. Not just them, obviously, but those are the two that I'm talking about right now. But like, you know, Eliza was the one who put the 50-51 thing on the website without consulting anybody. And if she had, she would have known that. There was a lot of talk about 50-51 for many months now, going back and forth, but mostly on the negative side. And if she'd have asked anyone, what do you guys think of 50-51? I know at least two people in that chapter facilitator chat who would have instantly been like, absolutely, unequivocally, no, we can't work with them. And Day is one of them. So I feel like Day was very disrespected and probably felt that the amount of time and effort that they put into this, that they shouldn't be disrespected like that by adding someone that they feel is white supremacist without asking. I think that's absolutely a valid thing for them to have felt. But for their response to have just like caused such a flurry and so much stress for so many other people, I feel like that's really not fair. That's basically my assessment of it. I don't know if that sounds fair or not. It's just kind of my take. I don't really have anything that can be done about it, but that's how I feel. Like, I hope maybe other people in here agree with it. I don't know.
Check. Alice. Thank you, Alice.
Yeah, I don't think that threatening to quit was necessarily the best way to go about it, but I also understand why, you know, I mean, I'm assuming most of the people in here are white. I'm not sure if that's a good assumption or not. But I think that for myself personally, I don't have that frame of reference where like I've been putting so much time and love and commitment into an organization, and then you're just worried that it's going to be, you know, funneled into neoliberalism and white supremacy. I don't know how that feels from Day's perspective. So I think maybe calling an emergency meeting rather than saying, hey, I'm out, would have been better. But, you know, I'm not going to sort of be like, this was the most disruptive thing to ever happen. Because to be honest, it was a little heartbreaking, but I thought the whole, like, where is our data going kerfuffle of early 2025 was way, way worse. And a lot of people quit over that too. So, you know, yeah, I guess that's just my 2 cents on that. I forgot what else I was going to say. Sorry, I'll bounce back if I need to.
Cool. I'm putting Stevenson on stack. He writes, more mods are needed. As someone said before, this is publicly accessible. Unfortunately, freaks that will easily vote against their own self-interest will find places in groups like this just to sue Discord because it helps their small-minded cause. I feel that's who snuck in, but we have to make sure we protect each other from situations like this. Cool. Awesome. All right, so there's no one else on stack. We are back on, we had MS, and now it's Jeff, I believe. I believe Jeff is next. And Centered Secret Path. And that was that.
Hey, thanks, Jay. Yeah, so I definitely agree with what MS has been saying. It's and also to kind of respond to what Alice was saying is that I'm not sure that, you know, if I understand why they felt the need to quit when they thought that a unilateral decision had been made to endorse an organization that is obviously against their principles and what they think are the principles of our organization. And to be fair, what I also think is against our principles. I see why they would quit over that. I think, yeah, an emergency meeting would have been better. But to then go back to what MS was saying is that for them to come back a couple hours later and say that, hey, we're going to have all these processes, while all of the chapter facilitators were frantically talking in the Signal chat about how we were going to handle this and how we were going to fix this, and they weren't part of that conversation. So it's like, well, okay, yes, we're trying to get processes in, but are you part of those processes? We'd like you to be, but it feels like at the moment you're not, and you're kind of speaking for the rest of us. So I spent a while writing an open letter to the Black Panther Party yesterday, and a bunch of us workshopped it. And I still think we need to get it out there publicly. And Jay, I believe it's privately, but as we've all been saying, like, we're already talking about this on Discord. It's already public, so I don't know what private would mean at this point. So I'd really like to get that letter out if other people are interested on helping out with that. I'm going to bring it up with the chapter facilitator chat after I get off this call. All right, that's enough. Thank you.
MS.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I wanted to get all of my stuff out as fast as possible because I really gotta go. Unfortunately, I've been putting something off for like 3 days, mostly partially because of this, that I really have to do. And I just hope everyone has a good evening. And if you want to talk to me about anything that I've said, Nick and Jeff are talking to me a lot, so they know how to hit me up. And as for the person who said we needed more mods, trust me, I was on a voice call with one of the mods and told them exactly what the mod team needs to have and what it needs to be, because I also am a Discord moderator. I told them that was a month ago. Nothing has changed. So I agree. They need to change the mod team. They just don't want to. Okay. Sorry I had to leave it on that note, but
No, perfectly fine.
I'm glad that you held this meeting. I hope that it gets out to more people and that more people talk about this, because I think the most important thing is to have people be talking about it. That's the only way things happen. That's what we're doing. So have a good evening, everybody.
So this meeting will happen again next week. There's other meetings scheduled. I think that is a good point that we're at about 1 hour, so we should kind of get into the checkouts with this next round, and then make sure everyone gets a chance to say bye. Or if you need to check out immediately, just click the hand and you can go on Stack and can check out immediately. Cool. So MS gone. Excellent. I'm next. Oh, Alice, do you need to check out immediately? Alice, you're on mute.
Sorry. I couldn't get off mute. Yeah, I remembered what I was going to say. So yeah, totally agree. There need to be more mods, more people who have, access. The whole thing about, the accessibility committee has been asking for these things and people are just ignoring it is so ridiculous. And then they say, okay, you come up with your own solution. Like, no. We all need to make that happen, like, as soon as we can. And I get why, Eliza and others might be wary, because I feel like there was one incident where someone did try to lock them out of the national Instagram or something, and they might look at that and say, okay, if someone can do that, someone, other people can come in and hijack whatever and split us up and whatever. So Discord, as people have been saying. But I mean, at this point, people who have been around long enough and we feel like we know each other, there's just absolutely no reason for something like that to be happening. So I think, like you all have been saying, the issue needs to be, how do we get more people access, and it's not just held by like 3 people on the Discord. Because the accessibility committee and others should not be going through that. That's bullshit. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so did you need to check out, Alice? Did you want to say kind of how things went or anything like that, kind of while we're kind of going towards the end of the meeting? Next steps, things like that?
Like my week? Like what? Like, how's what is going?
Just in case you don't get a chance to speak before people leave, is there anything else you'd want to kind of like end on, or next steps, or say how the meeting went, or anything else before we kind of wrap up?
I love you guys. I feel like everyone's really stretched thin and we're all really burnt out, and thanks for being here and doing this. And if anyone wants to come on the podcast, please let me know. Thank you.
Podcast, anything podcast, I'm way interested, because I'm just into anything public and transparent and collaborative. All right, so my turn, and then Nora, and then Nick, and then Bubbles, and people who are writing only. I think the most important thing, obviously, is how we want to move forward, and like the core implementation of what we do and how we do it. Because we can talk about whatever we want. We can bring proposals from this group. We can literally spend 20 hours, 50 hours with the 10 of us and create proposals and create new ideas. But if we don't address the core issue of implementing any idea, any proposal, any situation, anything related to having accountability and addressing things, it's very difficult. And that comes down to like having a clear process. I'm committed to drafting a document that basically outlines a National Assembly structure and what that might look like. I've already kind of created 2 or 3, text versions of that and messages here and there, but I didn't really want to do it without kind of people being interested in it, but I'm definitely willing and committed to do that, but I haven't found anyone who wants to work on it with me. In the context of, but I still just might do it on my own too. In the context of specifically, implementing something in some sort of model, I feel like it's a difficult situation, but it's not surprising at all. Like, this happens because of the structure we have. There's too few people who have too much control over not over too much. But there's solutions to this, and the solutions are about empowerment and just having community come together and creating space and not worrying about whether people show up or not. Like, it shouldn't matter if someone resigns. If I resign, no one's going to care. A lot of people resign, no one's going to care, right? So in an organization, if someone resigns that's an important person, it's not the person that's the problem, it's the role. Anyone should be able to resign. Anybody. They should have that ability and power. This is a volunteer organization. No one should be required to be involved. So the only question in an organizational perspective is if someone in an important position resigns, then the position's vacant and needs to be filled so the organization can continue, right? And that is not what's going on, right? It's not about process and functionality and filling, vacancies and all that kind of stuff, and having accountability and addressing problems and making sure that the same mistakes don't happen again. So that can be fixed, but I think that people just need to come together and just start making decisions and empower state representatives and or whatever needs to happen. The one thing that I think came up earlier is someone said in the chat, I think it might have been Stevenson or someone said, if we created a National Assembly, it wouldn't be decentralized anymore. And I think there's a huge misconception about what decentralization is. And if you look on the website at our values, there's 3 components that you see here. You have centralization on the left, and on the right you have a distributed network. And like, for me, what we currently have is distributed, not decentralized. Right? When I look at the science of what we're building, it is a very distributed network. We have all of these states and all these chapters, and like nothing's happening because it's so distributed that it's not connected anymore. a decentralized network includes centralization. Without centralization of information, there is no decentralization, right? It's distributed, right? You have to have centralized systems to be a decentralized network. Every single decentralized system has centralized components. Democracy in and of itself is, by definition, a centralized model, because if you don't know where to vote, you're not empowered and you have nothing, right? The location of where you vote is a centralized, known public place that you go to, right? So anyways, and then you have to add up all things. So the point that I'm trying to make is that having a National Assembly, having different organizations in the movement is not a bad thing. You know, and different groups can have oversight over different websites and different, you know, Discord servers or whatever. And I understand everyone's wanting to keep everything under the same thing and the same umbrella, but if it's a detriment of the strike, then that's not necessarily a good call, but we do need to work out these problems. So I will just say to close for my checkout that I thought this was a good session. I'm really glad people showed up. I feel like we're barely touching the surface. I'll be here next week. I'll try my best to come to other sessions. I'm very into public, transparent documenting, getting things out there, because the more that people are just hearing about it and talking about it, I think the more it just becomes like, oh yeah, we can work through this. This is not going to be the end of the world. There are solutions. Other organizations have gone through much worse. But something does need to change. And I could go on and on and on and on and on. Check. Jeff.
Thank you so much, Jay. You said a lot of things that are on my mind. Bye, Nora. Go take care of your kid. Yeah. So really quick. The first thing was a personal recommendation for you're looking for somebody to help with drafting that stuff. There's somebody in Oregon. I think his username is Oliver Twist. He goes by Oliver generally. He's working on some stuff like that, so you should connect with him. That would probably be a good collaboration there. The other stuff I was gonna say is all kind of going out of my head because I've been talking all day already. Hell, it was important. We're talking about structures. So part of what I deal with is chronic insomnia, so I lose my train of thoughts. I'm being asked how long is the meeting going to be tomorrow. Our last tech team meeting went 2.5 hours. I really don't want it to go that long. That was too long. I don't generally list a close time to my meeting because I have no idea who's going to show up. There were 20 people there last time, so it was a bit much. But this time I'm hoping we can get more work done and spend less time on introductions. But Jay, thank you so much for setting this meeting up. It's been really helpful. I think we're coming up against a lot of the same issues, and I think a lot of what we're dealing with is just kind of growing pains from this organization. You know, like it started out with just a handful of people using whatever tools they had, you know, whatever made the most sense and whatever was easy. And that is, you know, that's great. Like that's what they had to do. Like the strike card system that currently exists that our team is replacing was great for what it was, but it's not going to do the job for much longer. And I think that's what we're coming up against with a lot of these problems. Is just we've grown a lot recently, and our systems haven't caught up with that. And also, what you said about centralization and decentralization leads me to this idea that I keep coming up against, is that people seem to think because we're decentralized, that means we don't have leaders. And I don't think that makes sense. We don't have leaders in the sense that we don't have a hierarchy. We don't have people telling each other what to do. Nobody has to listen to anybody. Nobody's going to get fired or chastised. But we do have leadership. And I think that matters a lot, and who we follow and what we listen to and what we do with that power that we may or may not acknowledge that we have is really, really important. And what you said about filling positions and not having people be irreplaceable. Like I would hate for tech team meetings or my strike card project to fall apart if I couldn't be there to do it. Like that makes no sense at all. So we need to be I'm working to make myself redundant on that stuff as much as possible. All right, I have talked enough. Thank you, Jay, so much for setting this meeting up. I know this wasn't what you were intending to do today. Sorry about that, but I appreciate your flexibility and you're good at running meetings. So please keep doing it.
Well, no, this is always the intention of this meeting, is to just prioritize what I actually come from a co-op background. In my model, the most important decision of any possible decision is the agreement on the topic of what is to be discussed. If you control what can be talked about, you control everything. Right? So for me, in all of our conversations within our co-ops, we get consensus on the topic. Right? So that's how I bring and present the space, is that, okay, if we can't get a consensus on a topic, it's just open discussion, we do our rounds, but the goal is getting consensus on a topic. So whatever we want to talk about is good, and so this was perfect. For me, it's all good. But it's good to help understand my background. Also, remember, everybody give me your Discord handle, or you go to the public group. Otherwise I don't have any ability to communicate with anyone who's here that I didn't already know. And then let's just go to the last few checkouts. Nora left, so we have Nick and Bubbles, and then we have the folks on. Oh wait, Alice left and Jeff just checked out. Yeah, so it's just Nick and Bubbles to check out, and then we have the two people who are written, if you want to check out in writing. So that would bring us to Nick.
Yeah, I really appreciate this meeting. This has been a breath of fresh air. I have a little bit of an intentional community background, and coming into General Strike, kind of expected a little bit more. When it's mentioned that it is using sociocracy and stuff, I was expecting more of that. I was expecting more of this type of meeting and stuff, and it is a huge relief to know that there are others with some background in like co-ops and other things that are implementing those, so I appreciate that. I'm very down to help with any sort of document writing, and I'll send you my information to connect. I try to only check the Discord a couple times a day now, but I will be on there as I can. I guess my main, the follow-ups, sorry, let me collect my thoughts for a sec. Yeah, what Jeff said about the leadership is true, and I think that when leadership roles are not explicitly discussed, it leaves a vacuum that gets filled.
We might have not lost Nick. They have really bad internet.
We lost Nick. That is definitely what happened. Let's go on to Bubble. Nick, are you back?
Nick, oh damn it! I was saying such good things when my internet dropped.
You're gonna have to repeat. We're so sorry. Yes, please repeat.
Okay, I'm on I live rurally, so I'm on crappy internet.
Well, please repeat yourself and keep.
I probably wasn't actually that good. I was saying in regards to what Jeff was mentioned with leadership, that when leadership roles are not explicitly discussed, they form naturally, and that's more dangerous when they are explicitly discussed. So I think that is something that we're going to need to contend with, and make sure that leadership is shared, especially around things that, like the website, that include all of us, or like documents that people are putting out that they are listing as being from General Strike versus like from General Strike Oregon or from General Strike Hawaii, and putting that little bit on it helps to. we have like our core of what connects us, but we are a diverse coalition, and it is concerning when there are certain political or educational things that are being put out in our name that are not representative of necessarily all of our values. So yeah, that's one thing. The other thing I don't know historically what sort of, oh shoot, I lost the word. What sort of like restorative justice processes or accountability processes we have in place, if any. So I would be curious to continue to follow up on that because, yeah, there's been harm done to members of the community that has not had any sort of repair, and yeah, I don't want that to continue to happen. But I do appreciate this meeting very much. I'm glad to know that it exists. I'm sorry that I didn't know it existed before, and will continue to attend. So thank you very much, Jay.
Yeah, I have been involved about a year. I was gone for the last 2 months, which is why this is the first one for 2 months.
Oh, okay, cool.
And I couldn't find anyone who wanted to continue them without me, so it just didn't continue. But Bubbles, you are the last to check out. And obviously, if we want to continue, we can, but we want to make sure we have, like, it's been an hour and a half, so anyone who does need to leave, we should make sure we are wrapping up, because, yeah, Bubbles.
All right. I also am really glad that we got on this meeting and everybody got to talk about things and air things out. It seems like it's been really good, and I'll also continue to come to the meetings. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Okay. So does anyone want to continue? Does everyone feel good where we are at now? I think there was a few little next steps here and there. Break. Oh, let's make sure we have Silverstein. So I'm going to try to commit to being more involved if I can. Discord only makes it hard to see though all through the noise. Yes. And Censored Secret says, thank you all. We should take a break at least. Just really quickly on the break, in our co-op models, we actually have a whole rhythm that requires breaks at the bottom of the hour, the top of the hour. We do stretches, we do the whole thing. I would love to implement the rhythm, but it is a little bit of a learning curve. Jeff, your turn. Check.
I'll just take a second and then sign off because as I mentioned at the beginning of the call, it's my birthday and my partner is mad that I have not been paying attention to her today. So I just want to quickly remind anybody that's interested that tomorrow is the tech team meeting. It's at noon PST. So please come if you're interested in anything technology related. If you want to talk about your concerns about what we're doing and what you'd like to see happen with the website, with Discord, or what we use in the future, like please check in on that. And also tonight I'm going to, well, just right after I get off this call, I'm gonna send out the letter to all the chapter facilitators in the Signal chat, or if anybody on this call isn't part of that and is interested in this, the letter is going out to the Black Panther Party, but also internally and hopefully on our social media accounts. The idea, basically apologizing and telling everybody what we're going to do going forward. All right, that is enough out of me. I definitely need to get off this call. I probably won't be able to make these meetings regularly, but it's really appreciate that that you're doing these. So hopefully I'll be able to come in the future. And thanks a lot, Jay.
Yes, and it's interesting. Just like, you know, me and Fight the Dystopia and others have talked about it, and it's just kind of like these little snapshots over time. You know, every couple months where we just have these recordings. It's just interesting. So I think we're good then. If anyone else wants to add anything, feel free. It says, wanted to ask about the community app. Someone else wanted to know as well. I'm not sure what the community app is. If anyone knows about it. Other than that, I think we're a good. Nick, I'd love to send you a message if you want to check out my document, and then also getting there's like 100 Olivers on here, but I'll ask you on Discord. So I think we're done. Unless there's any other questions, anything else? Great session, one step at a time. Ciao.
Thanks, Jerry.
First start.
Thanks, Jay. Have a good weekend.
Happy birthday, Jeff.
Happy birthday to Jeff.
Happy birthday.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.